I'm currently, last time check, I was 5 centimeters dilated.
Having insurance versus not having insurance and the type of insurance you have a big role to play in the quality of care that you do get. That's like the flat fee just to be in the hospital. Hello. Welcome to my channel. I'm Annery Morgan. I'm not going to waste too much time in this video. I'm going to just hop in. A lot of you know, if you're subscribed or if you've been on my channel before, that I was pregnant, and my last video was actually my pregnancy waiting series where I was 38 weeks pregnant, and I was just vlogging the whole process of waiting because there was nothing else to do at that point. I thought I was going to get probably 2 or 3 videos out of that mini series that I was going to do, but turns out I went into labor the night that I uploaded that video. So now that the whole pregnancy process is over, I'm going to tell you guys what it was like being pregnant and giving birth in the United States, because I see a lot of comparisons with the US and other countries, especially when it comes to price and just patient care, just treatment, how you're treated overall. I'm going to say from the get-go that I'm not going to factor in race in anything. There is like statistics that show that Black women tend to have the least favored experience. So I'm not going to actually dive into that because to me that's a bigger topic, and I personally don't feel like it was a factor. I don't think anybody treated me different because of my race. That's just how I felt, okay? But yeah, price and just general treatment as a patient. So a lot of you know that I wanted to start my labor on my own. I also never wanted to take any medication at all, so I wanted everything to be as natural as possible. I never wanted any complications leading to C-section. For me to achieve this, I was prepping myself from months before mentally to not be too anxious, because I truly believe that if you walk into a situation already anxious, it's like you're setting yourself up for a lot of mistakes to happen. If it's even that your mind is shut off from certain processes where you can't think straight and just things just go haywire. I wanted to get all the information in and prep myself enough so that on the actual day of labor that I'm calm. Because I wanted to go into natural labor, after I uploaded that video, which was the 11th of May, I got active, meaning I started cleaning, I started wiping the floor, I started wiping the windows. I really wanted to put kind of like a strain and workout on my body in a way to naturally cause my labor. And you guys know I was showing you that I was eating dates, I was drinking the labor prep tea, everything put together that I was doing. I really believe that it contributed to the type of labor that I ended up having. Around 10 o'clock, my contractions started. They were very faint. They felt like period cramps. And the timing of the contractions, they were really throwing me off because it started at 5 minutes apart, lasting for 1 minute, which is technically what is considered time to like go to the hospital. So the app that I was recording all my data on, it was actually telling me like head to the hospital. But in my soul, I just felt like it wasn't time. Because they say listen to your body and everything. I just knew it wasn't time to actually go to the hospital. I also, like I said, I wanted to do majority of my laboring at home because I did not want to end up being induced to the point of a lot of things happening where it's affecting heart rates and all sorts of complications start, which leads to emergency C-section. So it started 10 p.m. of the 11th. I never went to the hospital until around 3 o'clock on the 12th. My obstetrician was calling me and saying, you know what, maybe it's time for you to come in at this point. But overall, my partner and I, we were really good at just staying calm. I really managed that pain that night.
Right. I think I'm experiencing prodromal labor or something because I've been having 13 hours of contractions and it's just there, you know? It's not progressing, it's not anything. They started rhythmic at 5 minutes apart for a good couple hours, and then now it's just all over the place, where it's like within 15 minutes and the contractions are lasting up to a minute. So I'm also experiencing headache and extreme thirst. So that's it for now.
I went to the hospital. I was like 2 centimeters dilated, and they said, okay, wait 2 hours. If you do dilate some more, then we'll admit you. So I was really in the triage room. When I talk about billing, I'm going to talk about the type of hospital that you get based on your type of insurance. So I will get into it. So I was in triage, and then 2 hours later, I was now 3 centimeters. So they actually carried me to the labor room, which I labored the rest of the time. Massive, massive labor room. And one thing I really like about this hospital is like they actually cared about the dads too. Of course, the focus was on the mom and the baby and everything, but they weren't like passive to the dad. So the hospital even had a bed, an actual pull-out bed, not just a sleazy little couch for the dads. Like he actually had, I think, decent enough bed in my opinion. And like providing meals and stuff. It's not the dad running around to get his own snack because they're only feeding the mother and the baby. No, they were actually also taking orders for the dad and everything. So I really I respect them for that. By 24 hours now, so like 10 p.m. on the 12th, I could not bear the pain anymore.
I'm currently, last time check, I was 5 centimeters dilated. I went unmedicated all the way up to 5 centimeters, and then I was like, nah. I accepted the epidural and the Pitocin, and I'm on a cloud 9 right now. So I'm quite satisfied. So far, everything is going really good. So I'm expecting to give birth in a couple hours.
I feel like me naturally going through majority of the contractions on my own, it helped to not have me jump into an emergency situation. That's just my belief. So I ended up taking the epidural that I said I was trying not to take, which I did tell the staff. I was like, you know what, my plan is to not take it, but if I do want it, I will ask for it. And they said no problem. So after 24 hours, I asked for the epidural. The anesthesia person, very respectful. The whole staff was great. My nurse was great. I don't know if other hospitals have this, but I didn't know that nurses would have their entire shift dedicated to one patient. So the nurse, even though I was technically in labor, so of course they wouldn't be hopping room, but I was so far, the nurse never had other patients to check on or anything. Like she was focusing on me for her entire shift. Technically, I think that was a big deal. I don't know if other hospitals are like this. I was impressed. The anesthesiologist came in, very, very, very respectful. They really slowed down, explained the process to me. So there was nobody pushing anxiety. There was no one rushing me. Everyone was just working with my time and calm with me. Oh my gosh. And love was just like the best partner to have in this very moment, because the amount of support and like comfort that he gave me in the very moment, it meant so much, because I never had my other family members around. Majority of my family is in Jamaica. My mom is in Jamaica. It was just me and him, and he did a great job, like keeping the anxiety down, like keeping me calm. Anyway, so I took the epidural, and then they were like, do you want to introduce the Pitocin? I did my in-depth research on it, and I just really wanted to not use it at all. But I don't know, the way they made me trust them in the hospital, I was like, you know what, okay. And they said we'll start at the lowest dose, and if anything, we can bump it up. We won't do anything without telling you. And they gave me the Pitocin, and the process sped up. So between probably 10 or 12 o'clock, I took the Pitocin. Let's say. I wasn't really tracking the time that heavy. And I took it at around 6 centimeters dilated, and I gave birth 5 a.m. on the 13th.
Give it all you got. Harder. Beautiful job. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, she doesn't hear it. No, beautiful. The baby's almost. Okay, push it in. You got this. Come on, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And push. There you go. Push. You're doing great. Okay, open your arms. Here he comes. Open your arms. Open your arms.
Keep pushing.
Look down. Look down. Look down. Relax. Take a picture. Congratulations. You did great. Yeah. Congratulations.
Hey.
So in total, I think it was like a 31-hour labor that I had. And I mean, I can't say anything negative about it. My mom said my labor process was long because her labors were much shorter. I think the timing that my labor was is what I expected. I pushed for 9 minutes. So when I went in active labor, I pushed for 9 minutes. I think eating the dates and having the labor prep tea, I feel like it had a lot to do with it. So even though my labor was long, my active labor was very short. I never pushed for long. I am so grateful for that. Unfortunately, because I had the epidural, I labored on my back, which was, I never wanted that at all. I wanted to try the squatting position, everything, but I probably would have tried that if I never took the epidural, but I was so numb from the waist down, no way it would have worked. So I did end up tearing because, laboring on your back increases your chance of tearing, and I most definitely had a tear, which I didn't feel, of course. And I mean, now that I'm all healed and everything, I'm fine. But of course, we'd rather not to have a tearing experience. But I'm not traumatized. And even like when it was time to push and everything, whether I wanted to push or not, my body was already like starting the pushing process by the time I was 10 centimeters. I can't complain about the service that I got. So now that I'm going to talk about the billing. As I say, I never had anybody to bounce off of with ideas or how to do things or what to do. So I was really just calling different obstetricians, and I was like picking up the process little by little through talking to them on the phone. Having insurance versus not having insurance and the type of insurance you have a big role to play in the quality of care that you do get. So if you don't have insurance, a lot of offices, they won't take you because they're going to assume that you can't follow up with your care and your visits and stuff. Now, type of insurance. If you have Medicare or Medicaid or any form of governmental assistance, you're automatically not going to have access to the doctors that are considered quality or have better service, which is unfortunate. In my case, I got referred to an insurance broker. And this broker, I told him specifically that, hey, I'm pregnant and, I want something that's going to cover the hospital care and all the obstetrician visits. So my insurance was specifically tailored to all my doctor's visits and stuff. So that allowed me to get a better quality care, in my full opinion. I really, truly believe this because I did one visit. I did one single visit without that insurance, and the places that were taking me, you don't want to go there. My very first ultrasound was somewhere that wasn't one of the favored places, and the quality I was getting, I mean, I left there crying. I just never liked the way I was treated. I felt extremely uncomfortable. When you have good insurance, I have to say good insurance, just know that that does not happen. Like, they'll acknowledge you, they treat you well, and they listen to your concerns, they talk to you. It feels like you're getting care. Now, it's not necessarily the best care in the world in comparison to what other people experience, but it's much better than if you don't have insurance or you get insurance through the government. For birthing, you go to the hospital associated with your obstetrician. So I didn't just get up and go to any random hospital. Okay, so the place I went for my prenatal care, I didn't know who was going to be there on the day of labor. Every week I'd see a new midwife and also see the one obstetrician that works there, so that I become familiar and know who they are, so that on the day of labor, I'm not having a stranger. Luckily for me, I actually had the obstetrician deliver for me and not one of the midwives. But I was pretty fine with all of them. But I was fortunate to actually have the obstetrician deliver the baby, which she was also Jamaican, which was a big deal to me. She didn't care two biscuits about that, but to me it was a big deal. Yeah, and then the hospital now, same thing. So it's not a crowded hospital because it's more, I think it's a private hospital. No one is overloaded with patients. So the nurses are pretty laid back and chill. They don't seem stressed in any capacity to me. As I said, I had one nurse dedicated to me for the entire time. Back to the billing. So in the US, every service that you get is basically split as many times as possible. So it's like a different company servicing you for everything. So someone draws your blood, that's a different LLC coming in You do ultrasound, that's a different company that you're paying to do the ultrasound. So like back at home in Jamaica, you go to your obstetrician and it's your obstetrician that does your ultrasound, your everything. I've seen some Instagram posts where people say their delivery covers it, but the anesthesiologist isn't covered under their insurance, which is wild to me. Just to stay in the hospital alone was $28,000. That's like the flat fee just to be in the hospital. Every other bill was high. So let's say you weren't restricted and you could do this process cash on your own. You're really looking at around 80 to 100K. It feels like I'm being ridiculous, but that's what it was. The delivery was beautiful. I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Everything I ever wanted. Extremely grateful, extremely happy. After birth in New Jersey, you're supposed to, if you give birth naturally, you stay in the hospital for 2 nights. I mean, I could not stay there any longer because it was literally like every 5 minutes someone was knocking on my door. There was someone knocking on the door for the baby, coming in to check on me. The phone's ringing. Hey, can we take your lunch order for you and your guests? Someone came to do my horoscope. Someone came to give me a massage, some Japanese type of ritual. Did I say for photography, lactation specialist? And everybody came in, they were having a long conversation with you. Sometimes their visits were overlapping and it was stopping me from being able to sleep and to actually bond with the baby. So I was starting to get cranky. And then I also, like I said, I was bleeding a lot. And I also had the tear. So like my legs were still wobbly. I felt really cranky. But I was able to be discharged and I'm home with the baby. And I mean, what is sleep? Luckily, I had my mother come and visit to kind of ease us a bit because 2 persons, they are not enough for a newborn. Trust me, like you need like a good 3-4 persons to actually feel like you're resting properly. Now the baby's getting into a rhythm and everything, and I don't know, I'm just excited to see the whole growth process, the whole mommy process, and I'm feeling extremely blessed. That's it for the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to either message me, leave it in the comments. Follow me on Instagram at dr.annemariemorgan, and the link is also in the description. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I want to do a video talking about what is necessary to buy and not buy when you're pregnant, because on social media there's a whole list of stuff which I did fall into some of the traps. I want to show you guys what I actually used. So subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can be notified when I upload. Thank you so much for watching, and